right, my name is Nancy Claypool, and I'm the Director of Marshall Public Library, and I'm interviewing E Haugh this evening. It's Thursday, July 14th, 2005. Are we ready? Tell us what your name is and what the name is of the business that you're here to talk about.
Well, my name is E Haugh, and the business was the Marshall Candy Kitchen.
And where was that located?
Right across the street on 610 or 14 Archer.
Who owned the business? Now, you were the owner?
Yeah, I bought it from my father-in-law, Rademacher.
Rademacher.
John Rademacher.
Was it a different name before you had it?
No, it's always the Candy Kitchen. Even the Greeks used to have it. He bought it from the Greeks. Two brothers ran that, and they lived upstairs. Its name was Papadopoulos. And he bought it from them in the late 20s, I imagine. And I bought it from Ratty. I went in business October the 4th, 1944.
Now, who worked in your business with you?
Well, my wife, Martha, and then the lady, Lorraine Dickens. She was kind of an overseer there till I got started yet. And then the kids, the girls from high school would fill in, waiting tables and things. Had several of those over a period of 20 years.
Can you think of any names of the girls?
There was a Forsyth girl, Valerie, and I can't remember the name. And then Lorraine's daughter worked there. And then there's so many names I've forgotten.
That's all right. What are some fond memories of running your business?
Probably most memories are of the kids, the different, I went through many graduations of the schools while I was in there for 20 years, and all the kids knew me and I knew them. It was, and always look forward to Christmas. We had a canopy above the back bar, and then we decorated with twisted crepe paper, red and green for Christmas and red and white for Valentine's Day and stuff like that. And making candy. And I made all my syrups, chocolate syrup. And we had sandwiches, toasted ham, toasted cheese, combination ham and cheese, toasted peanut butter, and then we had individual servings of Campbell's soup. We put them in a hot cup and heat the soup up. And then we had a rotisserie hot dog machine.
Tell us about your candy.
Well, I made peanut brittle and then coconut brittle, and I made chocolate peanut clusters, and heavenly hash. That's a mixture of coconut and chocolate and marshmallow, and make it a roll and then slice it off like a pinwheel, And peanut brittle was a biggie. I remember one afternoon and evening before Christmas, my brother helped me. We made 400 pounds of peanut brittle. We had to stop because the marble got hot and it wouldn't set up right. But and then I used to make a lot of churches came in, and I made up the treats for them, individual treats, things like that.
Tell us about the building and where you made your candy and so forth.
Well, the building I bought off of Mrs. Hurst. That's your husband's great-grandmother. And I bought that, and I went in there in 49. I bought the building in, I think, 50. And then the building was kind of falling apart because of a blocked drain pipe. So I had to clear it down and build it back up. That was 1951. And that was quite an ordeal. Then I bought a new fountain. That was, I think I bought the fountain in 1949. And the old fountain in there was what they call a brine cool fountain. And this was all electrical, you know. It was much neater and cleaner. And then I put the bar along there with the stools, you know. Used to be the first bar in there was just a stand-up marble bar. And guys used to come in there and drink Coke stand that, you know, back in years ago. But then when I got this sit-down bar, why, Jock Malloy was always one of my first customers in the morning. He always drank a chocolate malt with a raw egg in it. He did that for years. You had your customers always came in, you know, different times. You could count when they come in and get a Coke or a soda or a sundae. And after the show was out, the pictures, why, we'd be busy. But then the theater burned down. I went around, we went around. 40 used to go right out here in front. We had all the traffic between here and St. Louis go through. I had a lot of tourists stop in summertime, you know. They always stopped in and they said they'd bring the thermos in for water. And they'd always, even repeaters would come a year or two later and say, "We got some of that water." And they'd bring the thermos in, I filled it up with our water here. So,
What was the biggest competition?
well, I didn't really have any until the E&L they built down there. It wasn't that much. But, and then the only other fountain was in the drugstore. That's where Paul Martin was. But that's about it. I had just a kid clientele, you know, mostly during the day.
What do you think they liked best about it?
What
do you think the kids liked best about it?
They could do the dance and listen to the jukebox and play the pinballs and sit around and drink Coke and talk, you know, visit. And always seem to enjoy themselves.
Did you ever have any behavior problems?
Oh, there's always one or two that gives you some problems, but never any major thing.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about, any memories?
Well, not really. I really enjoyed working with the public and the kids back in those days. Of course, I was only 24 when I went in there, so I was pretty young. But it was a lot of work, but I learned a lot, and didn't make much money, but I kept busy.
What do you think how has the availability and the types of food and the way people eat, how has that changed over the years?
Oh, well, I don't know. Years ago, Tom's restaurant just down here was really the busiest. Even on Sundays, they drive from Paris, Nice, and Terre Haute over here and eat dinner there because everything was homemade. The rolls, the noodles, all that. And then mostly you had quite a few taverns in town, and they all served sandwiches and stuff, you know, like that. And there's several restaurants. There was the Al Cafe then, and Tom's, and several small restaurants. One down the street here by the corner tavern, there used to be a restaurant in there. But it was a small people stayed around Marshall. Growing up, of course, I worked 7 days a week in the candy kitchen, but I very seldom went to Terre Haute or anywhere. Of course, you're working 7 days and 7 nights, you don't have time. But you kept busy. But I think what changed Marshall a lot was when the theater burned down, that people went out and worked through that, and then they started going out and eat different places. And then your fast foods came in. They had Dog and Suds, they had Dairy Queen, and then when they built like the other on out there, that kind of hurt Marshall. It's never the same. When I was just out of high school, I worked for Kroger's, and you didn't work for much money. I'd work probably 60 to 80 hours a week for $7, less than 10 cents an hour. But things didn't cost much. You went to the theater, 25 cents, Coke was a nickel then, gum was a nickel. But that's all changed.
What about Rademacher's? Was that an ice cream shop?
Yeah, Ratty made his own ice cream, and that's where I got my ice cream candy kitchen. And he bottled double cola and different flavored pops, and he would sell ice cream back in those days when the church has their ice cream supper. He had padded things, and you put the ice cream down in the container, and that kept it solid in there. And then he was a distributor for beer, and this CV beer and 2 or 3 others. But he started out, I think Ratty came here probably in the early 20s and started the bottling business. That's what he started in first. And double cola was the main drink. And I haven't seen, I think there's some around, mostly in the South now. But he had an ice cream shop there, and I remember I used to go in there on band concert night. That was a big night. He'd have a big cone like this, and he'd put 3 different flavor dips of ice cream for 10 cents. But it was this small town back in those days. It was always busy. Saturday nights, the farmers would come in when I worked for Kroger's, and they'd stand around and talk on the corners and around the women, and they'd wait about 9 o'clock to come in and do their shopping. They'd bring in cases of eggs. You had to count all the eggs. And we usually got out of the Kroger's usually about midnight. I'd go to work 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your interview, and it'll be a great part of Marshall's history.
Well, I hope so.
Thank you.